In my opinion, the key to a really good pizza is, of course, its crust. I usually make pizzas at home every week, and throughout the years I've tried many variations, and this makes the most perfect, most crunchy, thin crust pizza. If you're after that really perfect, crunchy, thin crust pizza, then stay tuned because I'll show you how I make it. For making the pizza dough, you only need a few basic ingredients. I like to start off by making the yeast mixture first. I do this step first to make sure that the yeast is active and alive so that all my hard work doesn't go to waste. To make the yeast mixture, you need about 1 cup or 250 milliliters of water, to which you're going to add about half a teaspoon or 3 grams of sugar. Then you're going to add about half a packet or 4 grams of dry active yeast. Go ahead and stir it up nicely, make sure there are no lumps, and then set it aside for 5 minutes so that it starts activating. While we wait on the yeast, we're going to start making the dough. In a bowl, add about 2 cups or 200 grams of bread flour. I use bread flour mainly because it has higher protein content, which I think is essential for making a crunchy dough. But you could use all-purpose flour if you have that. For seasoning the dough, I'm going to add about half a teaspoon or 3 grams of salt. Tweak the salt according to your taste. If you like more, then add more. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start kneading the dough. You can use your hands, but if you're lazy like me, then use a mixer. Using my hands, I have to put in a lot of effort to get the dough right. With the mixer, I always get consistent results each time. If you follow my instructions while making the yeast mixture, then it should look like this. Go ahead and start pouring that in while you mix the dough. Now, if you're kneading this dough by hand, you want to knead it for a good 8 to 10 minutes. Or until dough becomes soft. If you're using a machine like I am, then knead the dough for about 5 minutes. Next, you're going to add in oil. I added about 1 tablespoon or 10 grams of oil. Then you're going to continue to knead the dough until it becomes really smooth. If it's still firm, then knead it for a few more minutes. It should become soft eventually. Next, we're going to let the dough rise, but before we do that, we're going to knead the dough one more time and turn it into a spherical ball, so that when it rises evenly on all sides. Cover your dough with some oil so that it does not stick to your bowl. Go ahead and drop that back in. Cover it up with some cling wrap or saran wrap and set it aside for at least 1 hour. I usually like to put it in an oven with the light turned on. That gives it enough heat to where it rises all evenly. After 1 hour, your dough should look something like this. It should have doubled in size. If your dough looks flat, then just put it back for another 30 minutes. It should be fine after that. Then you're going to divide your dough into 4 sections. Each section will make 1 pizza. You can also use the same dough to make a regular crust pizza. You would just need to use half of the dough. But this video is about a thin crust pizza, so we're just going to use 1/4 of the dough. You want to start by kneading your dough and shaping it into a round ball. Then you want to lightly dust it with some flour so you could roll it out. If you don't want to use flour, you could always use oil, as it also works just like flour. While rolling the dough, apply some pressure and keep rotating the dough. Otherwise, you won't get this circular shape. While you're rolling, make sure you have the right rolling pin and always work on a flat and cold surface. Otherwise, your dough may stick. Any flat countertop works just fine. Finally, our main goal is to roll our dough out as thin as possible. It should be so thin that you could see your hand on the other side, kind of like mine. Here's a quick tip. If you're making more than 1 thin crust pizza, you can use the back side of a plate to store it temporarily while you roll out your other pizza. After you're done rolling the pizza, you can bake it right away. There's no need to wait to proof or rise because this is thin crust pizza. The second tip is using a heavy cast iron pan. If you don't have one of these, use the heaviest pan that you have available. You can also use a pizza stone if you have one of those. First, you're going to preheat the oven for 200 degrees Celsius or 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you're going to place your pan in the oven and let it heat up for at least 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, carefully remove the pan from the oven and place it on your countertop. Be really careful while doing this step. Next, quickly place your dough on the hot skillet. And don't worry if it's uneven. The skillet is so hot that the dough won't stick on it. As you can see, I'm adjusting mine after I place it on the skillet. We're going to bake this 2 times. One, the dough by itself so it rises, and then again after we add the sauce, the toppings, and the cheese. Go ahead and carefully put it in the oven for about 4 minutes. After 4 minutes, your bread should look like this. It should have nice air pockets formed around it. At this point, I added in the pizza sauce. You can easily find the pizza sauces at the grocery store. I use the Prego brand. Let me know in the comments below, do you buy or make your own pizza sauce? I do both. I added about 2 to 3 tablespoons of pizza sauce for each pizza that I made. For my toppings, I kept it pretty simple by adding in some spinach. Feel free to add whatever toppings you like on a pizza. Finally, I topped off the pizza using some mozzarella cheese and some mild cheddar. You can also add Parmesan cheese if you have that available, but that's optional. Finally, to make my pizza aromatic and take it to the next level, I added a few dashes of oregano. I think adding this really intensifies and boosts the flavor. Finally, we're going to bake the pizza for the second and last time. Be really careful when you're handling the skillet. Use the oven mittens. This time we're only going to bake it for 4 minutes or until the cheese melts properly. If you followed all the steps, after you take it out from the oven, it should look just like this, or pretty close to it. If you do watch this video and do decide to make it, share it on Instagram by tagging me in it. I would really love to see what you make out of it. In the end, this pizza came out really nice. It was really crunchy and the dough had a really nice flavor to it. I do highly recommend that you do try this recipe and let me know in the comments below what you think of it. And if you really enjoyed watching my video, do consider subscribing to this channel. I hope to see you in the next one. Enjoy this B-roll.